Hello, everybody. Happy Friday. I am getting ready to go to dinner, and I realized as I was getting ready that I didn't go live today. And so, because I made a promise and I keep my promises, I'm here and I'm live. So if you're joining, say hello. It's so beautiful to have you here. I am so grateful that you are here in my community. I used to go live every Thursday and do Q&A, which we're going to bring back. But I did want to come on today and talk about some really big shifts and changes that have been happening over the past couple of weeks. I know that many of you have been hearing me talk about it, but I wanted to come on and actually speak life into it tonight. So again, if you're here, say hi. Let me know where you're joining in from. If you're here, your family. So I want you to know that. But let me know where you're joining in from, what your name is. Drop it in the comment box. We're going to be talking about a lot of things today, but mainly this massive identity shift that I have been in the middle of and coming into over the past couple of months. So for those of you, as you're dropping in and saying hi, for those of you who have been following me for a while, you probably saw that about 5-6 months ago, I moved from Denver back to Nashville. So a couple of years ago, I moved to Denver for love and had a really big identity shift when I was there and made my way back to Nashville back in March. And I've been here, and so much has shifted and changed. And that is what I wanted to talk about today, because so many of the people that follow me, so many of the people that work with me know that I preach a lot about the importance of knowing where you're going and the identity of the human being that is associated with where you are going, and what happens as a result of A, identifying who that new identity is, and B, what has to happen in order for you to get there. So I'm going to tell a little bit of a story, and it's going to all tie together. But about a year ago, I would say, I was in a really deep meditation. I have a meditation practice that I go into most mornings, and I had this visualization and this download of all of these things that I really desired to call into my life. And I recognized that a lot of those things weren't there. Like there was kind of like a seed planted for some of them to be there, but they weren't there in full fruition. And I started to have visuals, like there were visuals coming in. And if you've come to any of my master classes, you've heard me speak about this actual apartment that I'm sitting in right now was part of that visual. So I had that about a year ago when I was in meditation. In fact, I remember coming out of that meditation and thinking to myself, because I had a vision of being able, of floor to ceiling windows and being able to see a city, like a city skyline. And at that time, when I was living in Denver, my boyfriend and I at the time, we were not thinking about moving to a city. In fact, we were thinking about moving to either California or to Arizona. And so when I had this visual, I remember coming out of that meditation and thinking to myself, this doesn't make any sense, because this is nowhere where we're going. However, what I preach all the time is that when you're clear on the identity of what it is that you want to step into, it is not your job to figure out the how. Your job is to figure out what are the thoughts, feelings, beliefs, and actions that are associated with this identity that you want to step into, and feel into the frequency of that, and the how is going to present itself, right? The how is not something that you control. The only thing that you have true power over is what is the frequency of that new identity that you can continue to feel into, so that you can close the gap between where you are and where you want to go. So I remember coming out of that meditation and thinking to myself, oh shit. I saw a lot of things, and those things are going to require a different version of me. And I was so clear about what they were. And I knew that the identity that I was currently living in couldn't exist in the identity that I was being shown, the identity that was being given to me. And so I do what I naturally do, and I teach this inside of all of my programs. I worked on regulating my nervous system to be comfortable with that new identity, to feel really safe in claiming the things that were given to me, that I knew were meant for me in my soul. And then I started to feel into that frequency as much as possible, day in and day out. And the result was that everything started to shift, because this is what happens when you're truly committed to something new. Anything that's in alignment with the old identity has to fall away, because it can't exist there, because the current identity you're in doesn't have space for it. If it did, it would be there, right? So everything started to tumble. My relationship ended, that I thought was going to be my forever relationship. I moved back across the country to Nashville because I was really unhappy with where I was living in Denver. My health started to plummet. I just didn't feel good. My energy was shot. I knew my hormones were a wreck. My skin was a mess. I was holding on to weight. My health started to plummet. I started to lose people in my business. In fact, I let go of every single person that was on my team back, I want to say it was in April. So everything started to crumble. And what normally happens, because I've been here before, what normally happens for people when they claim a new identity is that stuff starts to happen and they start to freak out. They start to lose their shit because they're like, everything's crumbling all around me. I had the tools to know how to truly take care of my nervous system. And I had the knowledge to know that because I've chosen a new identity and it was very clearly given to me, everything that was in alignment with the old identity that didn't serve the new identity was going to have to fall away, right? And that's a really hard place to be. That takes deep commitment to growth, and it also takes really deep commitment to knowing the language of your nervous system to stay really rooted and grounded in that, which again is what I teach inside of my programs. So anyways, I get to Nashville. It was sad. I was grieving because I was grieving this identity that I really deeply thought was going to be my future. And how many of us do that, right? Like, drop a yes in the chat box if that is you. How many of us stay so deeply locked to this identity that we think is going to be ours? And then we get a glimmer, we get an idea, something happens, and you see this deeper realignment of what your soul really desires. And you recognize that it's not what you have now, but there's something even bigger for you, right? And then you grieve. We hold on, like we death grip to certain things because we don't want to lose it. So I get back to Nashville and I start apartment shopping, and I walk into this place and I recognize the moment I walked in, this is it. This is the exact vision that I was given a year ago. And it made no sense then. I couldn't make sense of it because it didn't fit into the identity that I was in, right? I mean, there was no identity that existed where my ex and I would have been in Nashville overlooking a skyline. Just didn't make sense. So I realized in that moment, like I had the light bulb moment, oh my gosh, it's all starting to unravel. It's all starting to make sense. I've got to stay rooted. I have to keep feeling into the identity of this new person, this new woman that I know I'm stepping into. So what you're seeing now in this moment is all of the unraveling of the new identity that's been taking place over the past year. And if you know me closely, you've been seeing this really close to home. I've been doing a ton of healing work. I have been shattering old limitations inside of my nervous system. I had a really deep-rooted fear that I was unlovable and that I was leavable and that I was lonely, and I had to heal that, and it's always a work in progress, but it's something that brought me into this really beautiful space of where I am now. And so in this process, as many of you have seen, I partnered with Mind Bloom, which is a ketamine-assisted therapy company, which has been a really beautiful experience. I'm finishing up my time with them. I'm going to be sharing more about that in the upcoming weeks. I really have dug into deeper layers of healing, combining somatic therapy and ketamine-assisted therapy, which again, we're going to talk about later on. I'll do a whole IG Live about it. Today, I'm just getting you up to speed. I also have partnered with a company called Embodied. So part of my health taking a decline, I recognized that the way that I had been operating in life and in business was actually destroying my gut and destroying my hormones. Even though I was so deeply immersed in somatic work and I knew what it felt like to tap into safety, I had so many deeply ingrained patterns that I had to look at, I had to heal. And as a result of that, I had to fix all of the things that I had destroyed in the process, which is what we normally see. So once I really started to get deep into the healing journey with Mind Bloom, working with my SEP, helping the women that I serve heal on deeper levels, I recognized that I needed to go back and I needed to really take my health into consideration. And so I've been working with Femgevity. We did an entire hormone panel. We did a gut panel. We did a microbiome panel. We've done literally all the panels that you could ever imagine. And it was so seamless. And I did it from the comfort of my own home. I didn't have to go anywhere. And the result was that my gut is pretty messed up and my hormones are a wreck. So I'll be talking more about that in the upcoming weeks, about that process and how beautiful it has been. I have energy for the first time in years, which feels so good. I'm working out like a beast and I don't feel like I'm 36 years old, which I have been feeling for the past year. I don't feel bloated after I eat anymore. There's so many things that feel so different. So I'm going to be talking about that. But one of the biggest shifts that happened for me was that in this process, I have, two big shifts. In this process, I've been speaking on stages. I have been leading hundreds of women through this work inside of my collective container, inside of home. And I realized this through line, that the women that I serve who were coming to me for dating and relationship support, it was so much deeper than that. And I had fallen out of alignment with speaking strictly to dating and relationships, because the work that I do with women is about truly coming home to yourself, learning the language of your nervous system so that you can replace patterns of protection with patterns of connection. And the result of that isn't just healthy relationships, romantic relationships. The result of that is a deeper relationship to yourself, which in turn shifts the way that you relate to money, shifts the way that you relate to your health, shifts the way that you relate to friends and family members. All of it shifts. I was having women inside of my collective container who were coming into massive amounts of wealth, right? Who were finding their dream partner, who were having babies, who were totally turning their health around, who were losing 60 pounds. Like, all of these things were happening. And I kept hearing from them, I'm so in love with myself. It feels so good to be home. It feels so good to be safe. And I recognized that there's so many people out there that just want to come home. They just want to feel that sense of safety inside of their body so that they can be a magnet for greater amounts of wealth, for deeper health, for the relationship that they know that they desire. And so the collective and home are shifting. They're shifting because we're not just focusing on romantic relationships. In fact, I believe that the relationship that you deeply desire cannot make its way into your life until you have truly, deeply fallen in love with yourself. And even if you're in relationship, okay? If you're in relationship, to have the depth that you crave inside of your relationship, it's going to require that you learn to come home to yourself too, so that you can have a deeper connection to the person that you're in relationship with. So a lot of that is starting to shift and change. I'm working with some really big people in the world who are leading thousands. And this work has changed the way they lead. It has changed the way that they relate to their children and to their husbands. It has changed the way they relate to their bodies. And it's so much bigger than just dating and relationships. And so that's what's shifting, is that I have truly, deeply immersed myself in understanding how the nervous system works and how vital it is to having the life that you desire. That massive transition that I just went through, the new identity shift that I just stepped into over the past year, it was a result of how committed I am to knowing my nervous system. I was able to navigate it with ease. Did I cry? Was it messy? Absolutely. But I was able to navigate it with ease because I was so deeply connected to what was happening inside. And I noticed that so many women and men have no idea what is happening inside of their body in a moment-to-moment basis. They've been to talk therapy. They have word vomited their problems over and over and over and over again. But their nervous system is still stuck in a pattern of protection. And so all of those patterns that are associated with those patterns of protection continue to repeat themselves inside of relationships, inside of your relationship to money, inside of your relationship to a significant other, inside of your relationship to your health. Right? How many times have we said, or have you said, when I say you, I mean we, because this was me too, I want relationships to feel different. I want dating to feel different. I want to have more money. I want to be able to do more good in the world. And no matter how many times you tried to do it and talked about why it's not happening, it still didn't happen. It's because your nervous system is still operating out of protection. You can cognitively say affirmations all day long. But if your nervous system doesn't actually truly deeply believe the affirmations that are coming out of your mouth, you're going to continue to attract what's happening in here, not what's coming out of here. So the women that I have been serving have been stepping into massive amounts of wealth. They've been finding their life partner. They've been shifting their health around. Same with me. I have really big announcements that are coming. There's a book coming next year. There's a new podcast that's coming. I'm bringing back my high-end luxury retreats in a couple months. Like, so much is starting to unfold. And it is because I know what it takes to get to safety within my nervous system, claim a new identity, and stay really rooted in that identity, even when it feels like I don't know what's happening in the interim, because I know the language of my nervous system so well. So if you want to be and learn about the frequency of resonance, about how to call things into your life that you don't currently have, that's where things are starting to shift. Alongside that, I also recognized in this entire process, I've been speaking on a lot of stages, that a lot of people in the personal development and the coaching world are getting fed mindset strategies. They're fed talk therapy strategies. And there is no trauma-informed approach to what's happening inside of the body. You guys, if you are in a chronic state of freeze, cold plunges are the worst thing that you can do for your nervous system. If you're in a chronic state of fight or flight, you've got a lot of sympathetic charge in your system, sitting down to meditate is going to feel impossible. It's driving me crazy right now to hear so many leaders and coaches and people in the personal development space talk about shifting your mindset, choose a different thought, choose a different identity. Breath work will solve everything. I got an ad the other day for somatic exercise that'll change your life. It's not true, because every single nervous system is so different. It's so different. There is no one size fits all approach to nervous system work, you guys. I need you to hear that. There are cases where breath work is not the best thing for you. There are cases where meditation is not the best thing for you, where cold plunging is not the best thing for you, where tapping is not the best thing for you. And there are people out there so discouraged. They're like, I don't understand why EFT, why tapping, why EMDR, why brain spotting, why breath work, why somatic movement, why it's not working for me. Well, because your nervous system is different. And breath work may be really activating to your system, and it may work for someone else, right? So we need to learn what it means to be trauma informed. We need to learn what it means to know the language of our own nervous system so that we can teach others how to know the language of theirs. So that is why I launched this month the Embodied Leader Masterclass. because I'm really tired. I'm so tired of showing up to speaking events and hearing all of the speakers speak in a way that is not trauma informed, that is not doing the best things for the people that they serve. There's a lot of leaders out there that are re-traumatizing their clients. They don't have this information. They haven't dedicated themselves to truly deeply knowing how trauma shows up in the body and what the best way is to serve the people that they lead. So the Embodied Leader Masterclass is coming. I'm bringing a certification program. There's so much shifting and changing, and it has all been a result of the identity that was downloaded to me a year ago. So I just wanted to hop on here and let you guys know what has been brewing and what's going to be coming. I'm also doing a partnership with, I'm not going to announce who it is yet. It's a really big partnership, but I'm going to be doing a partnership where I'm going to be freezing my eggs and taking you all along with me for the entire journey from beginning to end. So if you follow me and you've always wondered, what does it look like to have a baby on your own? If you're single and solo, also, what does it look like to freeze your eggs? What does that process even entail? How can you do it in a way that doesn't break the bank? I'm going to be sharing all of that. I'm going to be interviewing doctors. There's going to be so much information about how you can do that for yourself and also stay really rooted and grounded inside of your nervous system as it's happening. So stay tuned over the next couple of weeks. If you are a coach or a leader or a therapist, a body worker, a healing professional in the space, and you want to know more about working with the nervous system, come to my Embodied Leader Masterclass. If you drop embody, the word embody, in the comments below, I will send you the DM, or I'll send you a DM to sign up for it with the link. It's going to be a fantastic masterclass where I'm going to be talking about somatic work and trauma renegotiation. Okay, so come to it. Come learn, come absorb. It's going to be really, really good. Somebody asked me, does it count towards CE credits? It does not. But it is recorded and you can go back and you can watch it if you feel like you want to. So I hope everybody has a beautiful Friday, and drop your questions in the comments. If you have any questions at all, send me a DM if you want to know more about anything I spoke about tonight. I'm going to be going live more often just to connect with you guys and say hi and let you in on what's going on in my world. And also how you can start to implement some own nervous system work into your life so that you can start to feel ease, peace, joy, safety, these things that you truly deeply desire, but you may not have been able to tap into yet. So I love all of you. Have a beautiful Friday. I have to be at dinner in 5 minutes. I gotta go. See you guys soon.